just got back from Barcelona, Spain. We all know it's in the northeast region of Spain, and it is absolutely amazing. Spent 10 days there. The rich cultural heritage, the stunning architecture, and the amazingly delicious cuisine. One of my favorite places to go. But beyond the tourist attractions and, the beaches and everything that's so beautiful there, I want to talk about when we travel, how we look at culture. And this will help you with leadership, and this will help you in life. We get so caught up in being and seeing and doing in our own little comfortable world, whether that's, and it's our world, whether that's in our state, our city, our little tiny town, that we forget about what other people, what their traditions and customs are, and who they are and what they do, and, embracing diversity. And I know that's kind of a tag political word, but I want to get away from the political side of it, and I want you to understand it from a logical standpoint, and I'll get into that a little bit. But, the people in Barcelona are super friendly, very welcoming, and they have this Spanish culture, I think, that I can learn from. And some of the things that I learned was, number one, is embracing diversity. They do this. They have colorful mosaics all over the streets, vibrant cultural, events and huge parades. And they have a way of bringing people together. And you can see that from no one being on their phone while people are eating and they're talking, to how they interact with different people from different areas of the world, from them allowing their community to be stronger. And that's something I saw, when I went to the schools and seeing the kids playing, and teenagers not being on their phones, sitting around and talking to each other. And so many people were laughing. And we stayed in an area, I purposely stay in areas outside. It's 2 miles from all the tourist areas. So we were in like the heart of Barcelona downtown area, and just walking around the streets, going into restaurants where they didn't know English, and then having to work with us. But that was something that I noticed, is how we need to learn to take time to savor life. And the Spanish people have a unique way of living life. They take the time to enjoy simple pleasures. We get so caught up in being entrepreneurs, we get so caught up, we're not taking the time to be present and enjoy the meal with our friends. We're not taking the time. Everybody walks there constantly. When you go to the beach, it was cold at the beach, and people were all bundled up and just walking. They take their kids for walks everywhere. In school, you will see long lines of school kids just walking. And they were being, absolutely wonderful. They were walking on the beach, and they brought them there, and they had them sit down. None of the kids went crazy. None of them. There was 100 kids and like 3 teachers. And they all walked to the beach, all sat down, got their bag lunches out, and ate lunch and looked out across the water. They would just walk around. And how good is walking, especially after you eat? It's so good for your cortisol levels and your insulin levels. Just being able to know and understand that we need to walk more. And we ended up walking like 5 to 10 miles a day. Just constantly walking, trying out different foods, trying out different drinks, going in and out of shops. And we were just exhausted at the end of the day. But it was so much fun to be present and benefit from that. Just slow down every once in a while and savor life. And I think it creates, as I noticed with all the laughing and people just being present, not being on their phones, this overall sense of well-being. Another thing I learned was they celebrate their history and heritage. Whether you go to the Gothic quarter or the modern architects with the Gaudi areas, there's a rich and diverse cultural legacy that they have. And they take great pride in this. And they celebrate it through music, art, and festivals. So many art museums we went to. So wonderful. The festivals, the music. We need to start celebrating our history and heritage in a positive way, because that's how we gain a deeper understanding. And I'm going to say something that may offend some of you, but we need to stop canceling everything and start celebrating things. And yes, there was horrific things that have happened in our history, and we need to address those, but we need to educate what happened, but also focus on the positive. We all make mistakes. I'm not going to cancel my life because I've made some pretty big mistakes in my life, some things I'm not proud of. But because I made a few big mistakes in my life, I learned from those. I go back and reflect on them, and then I become more self-aware. Another thing I learned was how they built strong relationships. Spanish people place a high value on relationships. They take the time to connect, whether it's family gatherings, community events, or so many. I saw so many couples spending time with other couples, and then taking 2.5 hours, 3 hours for dinner. The restaurants wouldn't open up till 8 p.m. And then they would sit there till 11, 12 o'clock. I mean, just crazy how the relationship building was. And we need to take the time to be offline and build those offline relationships. Go have a glass of wine with someone. Take the time in the afternoon to go meet with the vendor or a client, or with your partner or husband or wife. Go out with other couples and enjoy the benefit of that. Nurturing connections with others. We know this. Science has said that it can improve our mental and emotional well-being. And it creates a sense of community and belonging that is so important that we're missing out on by going to work and working and then coming home, watching Netflix and go back and forth, go back and forth, go back and forth. And that's all we do. And we're not interacting with people in a loving and caring way. And then the last one is they pursue passion and creativity. The artistic expression there and the creativity motivated me. I mean, that's what I do for a living. I'm a chief marketing officer. And I always look at, when I go places, I'm always looking at things in that creative lens. And there's just so much creativity there, so much art there, so much street art, so many music festivals. There's passion and energy in this creative community. And this is a huge lesson for us all. By pursuing our passions and embracing our creativity, we find greater fulfillment, and we find that thing that we so often want and it's elusive is meaning in our lives. By embracing your creativity, you find meaning. And so I think the Spanish culture and the people of Barcelona, they have much to teach me about life, about love, about happiness, about embracing diversity, savoring life, celebrating my history and heritage, building strong relationships, pursuing my passion and creativity, and just living, being present and living a more fulfilling and meaningful life. And I encourage you, if you're planning to go on a trip to Barcelona, go. It's a wonderful city, wonderful people, and I guarantee you, you won't be disappointed.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.